Shalom, Israel. It's that time again. The ISUPK, under Commanding General Yahana, presents the Lord's 57th Annual Passover. That's right, the Lord's 57th Annual Passover, April 4th, 2026, in Houston, Texas. All Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans are commanded to observe the Lord's Passover. This will be the biggest Passover to date. You do not want to miss this. Fresh lamb, fresh wine, and bitter herbs as commanded by the Most High. Only $200 per person, ages 17 and up. The biggest event of the year. There is only one Passover, and it's under Commanding General Yahana. See you there, Israel. Shalom.
Nobody else there to compare to. Train for war, men of war, and warlike apparel. Prefer our leaders, can't get between us. Watch where you stepping.
Salam, Israel. This is the ISUPK. Under Commanding General Hunter, started out at 1 West 125th Street in Harlem, New York in 1969. This is the ISUPK Wednesday night Nashville Law class. I am Precinct Officer Zabak Yasharala. In the ISUPK and the Commanding General Hunter, we are not affiliated with no other Hebrew Israelite group that is on the face of this planet. For we are the ISUPK, home of the truth. We're not affiliated with Islam. We're not affiliated with Egyptology, Scientology. We're not affiliated with Seventh-day Adventists, Jehovah's Witness. You know, if it's not ISUPK and the Commander General Hunter, man, it's not of the truth, man. So, and plus, here in the ISUPK and the Commander General Hunter since 1969, we've been teaching the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians that you are the real Jews according to the Bible, according to the words of the Most High God. That the 1611 King James with the Apocrypha is your constitution. This is your book. This is your heritage, your lineage. Tonight, my topic, I said a new year, and you still the same slave. Without being properly educated, you know, you would think that you going from December the 31st to January the 1st, you would think that that's a new year, and it's not. You only just went from one month to the next. You know, we still in a winter season, even though, you know, the weather's been nice, you know, thanks to Most High. For those that like warm days, you know. But me personally, I love the winter. Hey, I want to give a big thank you for all those that tune into the class. You know, if you have any questions, you know, any comments, you know, put it in the chat. Any questions in the class? No question? All right, if y'all have any questions, man, you know. All right, what's up?
I know you're the same slowly as always, but
Hold on. Say it again. Take your time. Uh-huh.
but what happens if you get free from being slave?
What happens if you get free from being a slave? Okay. Let me answer it so that that you can understand. You getting free from being a slave is that you would have to come and you would have to do the things that God said do. You would have to be taught how to serve God. You can't do the things that is of this world. And when I mean the only way that you're going to be taught how to serve God is here in the ISUBK and the Commanding General Yohana. Here in the ISUBK and the Commanding General Yohana. You can't do the things that is of this world no more. You can't do holidays. You can't participate in calling yourself sneaking and smoking a cigarette. You can't call yourself you having a girlfriend. You have to be taught to think. You can't call yourself trying to sneak and smoke weed. You can't follow people and like trying to do ungodly things. Like you calling yourself, oh, I'm following my homeboys. We going to go steal. Even if it's like some bicycles or we stealing somebody jacket or we stealing some sneakers. And for those that are watching, this question came from my youngest son, and he is 7 years old. And that's one thing that, I think Nashak said that, when you talking and you explaining things, he said, pretend that you talking to somebody that's, like 10 years or probably younger. So, my little man, that was a good question, man. That was a good question. But that's how you become free. That's how you would not be a slave no more, because it's things that being a slave and not really being like deep rooted in being a slave. Like if you work for somebody, that's a form of slave. But being that you work for somebody, that doesn't mean that you still have to go out here and eat pork. That doesn't mean that if you working for somebody and every time you get paid, you treat yourself to some lobster. No. Just because you work for somebody and we call like a job, we call that a slave. Just because you are working for somebody, that doesn't mean that you still have to stoop to the things that is of this world. Does that make sense to you? Huh? So you really have to know how to serve the Most High. Like celebrating your birthday, yes. That'll make you a slave. Celebrating Christmas, yes. Because not only do you celebrate the thing that is of this world, but you celebrate it according to what man says. Man tells you when to celebrate it and how to celebrate it. But if you're going to be a slave for the Most High God. If you're going to do anything, do it unto the Most High. Do it for the Most High, okay? That's why I got you sitting in this chair at the age of 7. And I'm not, if my father knew about the truth and he did what was right according to what he thought. But what I'm doing with you, yes. And I seen General Hyman do this with his son, Kevin Araya. I remember seeing him at the age of 10 out in Harlem reading on 125th. I remember that. So, in the sight of God, I'm doing right by you. I brought you into this truth. So you keep doing what God say do, because I'm going to tell you what God said to do. I'm going to show you. So that way you can free your mind from being a slave. But what I'm talking about tonight, I'm talking about people that are not in the ISUBK. Because people that are not in the ISUBK, they are being a slave until what is going on out in society. They are running amok throughout America and abroad. You know what I'm saying? Because God his chosen people are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. And when I mean by his peoples, I'm talking about the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American, man and woman and child. For those that are not in the truth, they are out there, they're being a slave unwillingly known. The average person think that by them going to work, I pay my taxes, I go to church, I pay my tithes. They think that they're living a productive life. Unwillingly knowing you just being like a really productive slave. Because not only do you go to work, pay your taxes, you go to church and pay tithes, you still participate in Thanksgiving. You still participate in celebrating birthdays. So like you still participate in Mother's Day. So like you still participate in Father's Day. What's it? Valentine's Day. You still participate in the things that is of this world. And the Most High said in 1 John 2:15, he said, love not the world nor the thing that is of this world. For if any man love the world, he's an enemy of God. Do you want to be an enemy to God? Do you know what an enemy is? You know what an enemy is? What's the enemy?
Opposite.
Yes.
Someone
Someone that will befriend you. Someone that will look at you and be like, even if you try to get them some good sound instructions, they're going to go against what you're saying. They're going to make you be not at peace with them. That is like some of the synonyms that falls up under being an enemy. So anybody in their right mind don't want to be an enemy to God. Because God can do away with you like that. He'll make it the way you want to be a memory. So, by you participating in the things that is of this world. But let me read it a little more clear. So let me read it a little more clear. 1 John 2:15. 1 John 2:15, he said, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. And the things that are in the world are you partying, fornication, adultery. Like by you living according to the world, like it's like you get to do whatever you want to do. Thinking that, it ain't no repercussion to this, it ain't no that, it ain't, but you will be judged. First John, 1 John chapter 2. Salah. Yes. Shalom, no question. And if any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. You got to go like to the back. Yeah. You got to go. You got to go to the back. It's in between. It's in between 2 John and 2 Peter.
You said John 2:16.
Yeah, 1 John chapter 2 and verse 15. You see it?
See yours. Yeah.
Yeah. You see it? All right. Have them find it. Don't have them find it.
When you say
I
God,
say 1 John chapter 2 and verse 15. Just take the book and go to the index real quick. The index in the front. Yours will be in the front. See right there? Right there. Right there where your thumb at. Your right thumb. Just read up in there. And it's gonna tell you, it's gonna give you, yeah, it's gonna give you the page number. So the page number be like to the you at the beginning of the book, you gotta go more to the back. You remember the number? Huh? You remember the number of the page?
who's 1459.
If it's 1459, then that's what you turn to. You don't see it at the top. But I'm gonna keep reading while you find that. It says, verse 16, it say, for all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes. So you know your spirit will fight against your flesh when it comes to doing certain things that is of this world. And your flesh gonna fight against your spirit. You know, more so your flesh gonna have you doing worldly things. You know, because it says in the scripture that the spirit will bear witness of the truth. So if you're not around the truth, then your spirit is not going to bear witness of it. But your spirit will bear witness of what your flesh is doing. And 9 times out of 10, you know, it's a such thing as a conscience. You know, you might hear this little voice saying, man, you know, this ain't right. That ain't right. But, and then your eyes too. Your eyes will see things and then your mind will start talking to you. Like, yo, let's go do this. Let's go do that. And what it say, and the pride of life is not of the Father, but of this world. And a lot of pride get to people. A lot of pride get to people that it takes over people. And that's one of the things that the Most High hates. He hates pride. He hates pride. He hates a prideful person. And, you know, the so-called white man, that whole nation is prideful. They are prideful. They were not. But it's going to be a lot of people in 2026 are going to say that they are going to not do this, that they're going to change up their way of living, but then they're going to fall right back into the same rut. What they were doing last year, they're going to continue doing this year. They're just going to add on. You know, they're just going to add sin on top of sin. Add sin on top of sin. You know, but some people try to find a different route to, okay, I did this last year, let me switch it up this year. Unwillingly knowing that you have certain spirits that will make you go farther and further into sin. It will have you doing sinful things that you look around and even if you're not paying attention, somebody that's watching you, I say this here, man, you still doing the same thing. And we all have done heard that, especially especially being in the world. We haven't heard somebody tell us this. Man, you are still doing the same thing. You're still doing the same thing. But, you know, it's a thing called insanity, meaning that you keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. You know, a lot of people in their foolishness, they think that that they can just do away with it. But what just came to my mind and made me think about this was it's a proverb and it says, as a dog returns back to his vomit, so is a fool that'll return back to his foolishness. Meaning that you just gonna keep repeating yourself. You just gonna keep doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't have nobody to guide you in the right direction, then you're not gonna know what to do. If you don't have nobody to teach you what real brotherhood is, if you don't know how to treat your brother, you don't know how to be a brother to your brother, then you're not. If you don't have nobody to teach you how a man conduct himself, then you're not gonna know what to do. If a sister don't have nobody to teach her what sisterhood is, then she is not gonna know how to do that. If she doesn't have a woman that is older than her to teach her the ways of a woman, she is not gonna do that. You know, if she has not been taught how to be a mother, then she's not gonna be that to her kids. If a man has not been taught how to be a father, he is not gonna be that to his kids. If he has not been taught how to deal with his wife, he's not gonna know how to deal with her. He is not. If a man has not been taught how to conduct himself out in society, he's not gonna know what to do. You know, he's just gonna be vulnerable to every and just about everything. You know, that's an old saying. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. You know, especially if it's not in the ways of righteousness. If it's not in the ways of righteousness, you gonna subject yourself to, okay, I'm getting in trouble over here, over here, over here. I'm doing this, I'm doing that over here, over here. And that goes vice versa for male and female. Next thing you know, you stuck in a you stuck in more so like a slave mentality, a slave makeup. Because you just keep repeating yourself. You like what you're doing. You think that, okay, I got away with it over here, I got away with it over here. But if you're a so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American, man, woman, and child, you're gonna be held accountable. You're gonna be held accountable. And the only way that you could come up out that slave way of thinking, that slave mentality, that slave way of living, is getting in the ISUPK under command of General Yohana. That's the only way. That's the only way. It is so much that our peoples, and when I say our peoples, I'm talking about God's chosen people. I'm talking about God's chosen people that we think that we doing what's right and we not, because we haven't been taught that. Just because you take a person that is not getting in trouble and he is not interacting with the law, he ain't got no type of tickets, speeding tickets, he haven't been hit with no solicitation, no like getting a ticket for throwing trash or anything like that. He hasn't been in no fights. He hasn't been subject to nothing. Still yet, and all in all, if you're not doing the thing that is of the Most High, then you doing what is right and pleasable to you. You have to do what the Most High said do. You have to follow law, statutes, and commandments. But if you haven't been taught that, then you're not gonna know what to do. And you're not gonna find that in Christianity. Going in a church on Sunday, you just going in a trap house on the first day of the week. That's all. Christianity has them failed us tremendously. And the so-called Black, Hispanic, and First Nation people that are still going in these churches are under a hell of a drug. And you really talk about slavery. You really talking about what slavery looks like? All you got to do is going to church. Going to church, and they have been stuck in that condition for years. They have been stuck in that condition for years, and they really don't want, for some that really have that rebellious spirit on them, they don't want to seek better. They don't want to seek better. They think that by them giving up some money They running up and down the aisle, shouting, falling on the floor, rolling around. They think that somebody sprinkling some water on them. They think that they are doing the things that is of the Most High, and they are not. Only thing they doing is just acting a fool. That's all. They just performing. You don't serve the Most High like that, talking about you shouting and you dancing and all that. That's not serving the Most High. Because once you get finished putting on this little concert and putting on this show, guess what you're gonna go back doing? You're gonna go back being you just stuck in slavery because now you waiting on these holidays. Now you waiting on the next party. Now you waiting on, if you a man, you waiting on this married woman to give you the okay to slide through and see her. If you a woman, you waiting on this, especially if you a married woman, and I'm not picking at no married woman, like I said, go vice versa. A married woman going, sleeping with this married man. Soon as you see some daylight. I mean, in Christianity, everything goes. Everything goes. In Christianity, you got men loving men. You got women loving women. You got old men. I want to say the last crazy case I heard, I mean, it really wasn't no case. It was this man was about, I want to say this man was about, I don't know, 62. And he was messing with a little 18-year-old. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy, but in Christianity, just about everything goes. It's no cut and dry. It's no in between. Like everything goes in Christianity. But it's just you just basically get to do what you want to do. They got a saying, and it's been like that for years. They tell you come as you are. So by you coming as you are, you get to do what you do. And by you coming as you are, you get to leave like how you came. You're not really learning nothing. I don't know nobody that ever really came in Christianity and really say that they really got something out of it. I mean, you got people that have benefited from it when they came in there with the wrong intention. Christianity is $1 billion business. So the people that had their hand out, they benefited from it by getting money. I mean, I could sit and ask you, do you ever know anybody that ever really changed their life around by being in a Christian church? Yeah, you can't even tell me not one person. I mean, they'll make it look good. Like, I'll give you a little scenario. You can have a person that's been in the streets and been doing drugs. He goes in the Christian church. Okay, they done helped him out. He done got a job, this, and that, and third. But when the smoke really clears, it was good that he got out of the streets. He got off of drugs. But now, if it's a guy, he probably sleeping with somebody with a woman. If it's a female, vice versa, she's sleeping with somebody else. Nothing really was profitable and really incredible with Christianity. Like, Christianity has done kept our people in the blind, has done kept our people at a docile state of being for many years. And that's due to Black leaders on up. So if the Black leaders have not led us to nothing, has not taught us nothing, you got to look at the makeup who is behind the Black leaders, who is controlling the Black leaders. And that is the so-called white man. That's what we say he is the devil that the Bible speaks of. And the word devil means deceiver. Y'all don't let nobody trick y'all into thinking that when you hear the word devil, that it's somebody in the midst of some fire with a pitchfork and he got two horns coming out of his head and he got a tail. Nah, that's what they teach you in TV and little story books and stuff like that. If you ever hear somebody say the white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of, you know that he's a liar. He's a manipulator. He done tricked many. He has done lied. He has done hurt. He has done unalive. And you know what I mean when I say unalive, right? Okay. He has done unalive countless people. Like, it's no comparison. And when it comes to our people, some of them are sit and say that, well, black people be unaliving black people. And that's due to somebody not being educated. Somebody don't know history. They just seeing what is being presented in front of them through TV, phones. You see what I'm saying? But nobody don't never really do the research. Look at what the so-called white man did back when he first stepped foot on this land. They'll tell you about Thanksgiving, but don't go into the history. They'll tell you that, the Indians and the Pilgrims came together and ate. No, they did. The only time they came together and ate was when they first got here and the Native American Indians was teaching them how to hunt. They sat down like that, but as far as like a Thanksgiving, nah, that's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. And when it comes down to God's chosen people, you celebrating stuff like that, that makes you a slave. Because not only does that make you a slave, you are celebrating the death of your peoples. If you are a so-called black man, black woman, a Hispanic man, Hispanic woman, a Native American man, or Native American woman, you celebrating the death of your peoples. So if that doesn't make you a slave, amongst other things, then you have to say to yourself, like, I really don't want to accept that truth. I really don't want to accept this understanding. Because not only do you celebrate that holiday, you celebrate it when he says celebrate it. You celebrate it how he says celebrate it. Because he'll tell you what to buy, what to eat, how to eat it, this and that and the third. And all of that represents things. That's why you have to, we as God's chosen people, we have to do our own research. You can't take what these white people say in the literal. These so-called white people will lie to you face value. They will lie to you, look you dead in your face and tell you a lie. Will tell you a lie. You have to fact check it. And when I mean fact check it, you have to go and do the research for yourself. You can't just let them tell you that that's a day of giving thanks. So you mean to tell me you're going to pick one day out of a whole year to give thanks to God? That's their way of thinking. You see what I'm saying? That's their way of thinking. They would dress it up like that to make it look like it's a day that you coming together. So that's, it's more so like a control thing. That's why it is said that when you do stuff like that, if you God's chosen people, it makes you a slave. It makes you a slave because it shouldn't take you to come together with your family when the so-called white man said it. If you got love for your family and you got love for your peoples, you should come together without being told when to do it and how to do it. That makes sense to you? Yes. That's why you should be close-knit with your family. Forget the thing. And I'm not telling y'all to go and be disrespectful. That's not what I'm saying. But if you're sitting and you could just ask stuff like this right here. You could just raise your hand. You're in class and just like, hey, like, why are you telling us this? And you don't have to say it funny or nothing like that, but just ask certain questions. If a question come across your mind, just ask it. Raise your hand. Hey, I want to know more about this. Why haven't such and such? Such and such, such and such. I'm not telling y'all to go in school or class and be disrespectful. No, we don't do that. But it's a way that you go about it and everything. See what I'm saying? Like you don't have to be disrespectful with a question or even with a comment. You don't even have to be funny or nothing like that. But when you dealing with the so-called white man, so-called white woman, you cannot take everything what they say for face value. You have to do your research. You have to do your research. But I'm gonna read some scriptures. And y'all can follow me in the Bible if y'all care to. You can first thing I'm gonna start off with is in Jeremiah. And Jeremiah is in between like when you go to the front of the book, yeah. And look up Jeremiah, it's gonna tell you what page it's in. Jeremiah like right behind Isaiah and in between Lamentation. All right. So I'm gonna go to Jeremiah. Now I'm gonna go to chapter 17. And I'm gonna start at verse 5. Jeremiah chapter 17. And I'm gonna start at verse 5. So I'm gonna help you better understand your question. Because when you ask me what would make you not be a slave, remember you asked me that? So I'm gonna tell you some things that the Most High God said. All right. So when you look at Jeremiah, and Jeremiah was a bad prophet. I mean, all these prophets in that Bible was bad. So this is something that the Most High said, and this is Jeremiah delivering it. Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 5. Thus saith the Lord, cursed be the man that trusteth in man. Cursed be the man that trusteth in man. So, you trusting in another man, especially if this man is not a righteous man. But if you don't know no better, then you will look at this man to be an uplifted man, especially if he got money, he making moves, he got houses, he got cars, he got jewelry. He making himself presentable to the naked eye. But behind closed doors, this man is probably wicked on all levels. But he know how to make his appearance look good to the naked eye. He know how to make himself look good in front of other people. That ain't no different if you looking at a drug dealer. You looking at a drug dealer, this man got money. He count money. You might see him every week with a different female. You might see him drive a different car every week. But he is making himself look presentable to the naked eye. But behind closed doors, ain't no telling what he's doing. But out in society, he is making himself look good. He is making himself looking like, hey, I'm this, I'm that. Even if, okay, granted, he handing out turkeys on Thanksgiving. He handing out turkeys on Christmas. He buying kids clothes. He this, he that. But still yet, he is not doing what is acceptable in the sight of God. But you cannot trust a man. You have to look at this man, and there's nothing wrong with judging another man. There's nothing wrong with judging another woman. You have to, let me say it like this, the way you understand. If you judge a person, you have to judge them according to righteousness. And the word righteousness means doing right. So if a person is not doing right, of course you can judge them. You don't have to go to them and say, yeah, such. Nah, you don't have to do all that. You just sit back and look at them from afar to see how they're carrying themselves. But if they are not a person of God, nah. Because going to church over here, and you putting up a Christmas tree over here, you got Christmas like you hanging up stocking, you got a mistletoe hanging and all that. No, that's not gonna cut it. You can't put your trust in no man like that. You can't put your trust in no woman like that. A woman calls herself going to work, this and that and third. So on weekends, you seeing all these different men coming in and out of her house. Nah. Can't put no trust in no woman like that. Can't put no trust. Can't. You can't. But God said, thus saith the Lord, cursed be the man that trusteth in man and maketh flesh his arm, and whose heart departed from the Lord. So by you trusting in this person, yeah, you will depart from the Lord, especially if they are not serving God. If they're not serving God, yeah, you're gonna depart from you. And when it talks about the heart in the Bible, it's talking about your mind. It's talking about your mind. It's not talking about that one that is pumping blood through your body. It's talking about your mind. So by you putting your trust in another man or even another woman, and you trying to like be on their level or anything like that, if you following them, then somewhere along the line, they're gonna make you depart from really looking at God, really serving God, really finding out who God is, because you're spending too much time looking at what they're doing. Because if they was a man of God, they would tell you that they're a man of God. Instead of them telling you, they will show you. You will see how they carry themselves. You will see how they do. Because even in the scriptures, it said that, and I'm paraphrasing, it say that you are known by your fruits. So, you really can't put your trust. Not if a man is not righteous and he is not telling you and telling you about God, telling you how to serve God, you can't trust him. You can't put your trust in him. You cannot put your trust in. And by you can't trust him and making your heart turn, you have to understand about the heart too. You have to understand about the heart. Because if your heart is not in the right place, it will make you stay more like being a slave. The most I say, you can't serve two masters. You can't go to church thinking you're not serving the Most High when you go into church, because you're just going in a building on the first day of the week. That's more like sun worshiping, like you worshiping the sun. Knowing that you can't serve two masters, they don't teach you this in church. Because if they got to come out with the truth, then people going to separate. People going to separate because they're going to be like, wow, Pastor Reverend, you've been lying to me all these years. So now, church is not going to be what it's going to be. But a lot of people have not caught on. Like, you have so many churches. Oh, man. You got so many churches. And I remember, I'm probably about like 9, 10. I used to always say this. I had said this one day, and it stuck with me. I said that if you serving the same God why do you need all these churches? And that just stuck with me one day. And it just stuck with me. And I remember I had walked some blocks one time. I think I might have walked by like 2 miles. I don't know, probably a little more. And I was looking to see how many churches I could count. I had counted so many churches that I was like, wow. I say, why do you need all these churches if you serving the same God? And that always stuck with me. But now me being in the ISUPK and the Commanding Junior High, I know why. First of all, it's a trap house. You getting all this money. You getting tax-free money. Every Sunday, you get tax-free money. But then you got to think about who owned the banks. You got to think about who was behind Christianity. So-called white men brought Christianity to America. So by them bringing Christianity to America, it's all like a monopoly. It's all about money with them. Ain't no different than how they got all these man-made holidays. All these man-made holidays is it all boils down to money. Each and every man-made holiday, they do over $3 billion a holiday. Like I'm older than both of y'all together. And these holidays been going on since I can remember. So think about this for a second. These holidays been going over 70, 80, 100 years. And you doing $3 billion? That's a lot of money. $3 billion is a lot of money. If you're talking, think about this. Thanksgiving and Christmas ain't that far apart, is it? You did over $3 billion for Thanksgiving. You did over $3 billion for Christmas.
Thanks.
Throw in Halloween. Halloween ain't that far from Thanksgiving. It's another $3 billion. It's a lot of money. And it's been going on for years. This ain't just started, man. This hasn't just started. But these are things that will make you be stuck in a servitude state of being. This will make you be stuck in slavery. So how you come up out of slavery is you have to come back and serve the Most High. You have to stop doing the things that is of this world. You have to. You cannot sit here and hear the words that is of the Most High God and then think that when you go to school or you around other people, ain't nobody watching. I could do this, I could do that. But you got to remember, God is always watching. God has angels that write down everything that you say. Not only do they write down everything that you say, they even write down your thoughts. This is in the Bible. This is in the Bible. So when you learning the truth and you learning the truth of the Most High, then you have to say to yourself, man, I can't do what I've been doing. Like it's a saying, you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you ain't gonna never fool God none of the time. And keeping these commandments is not hard. It's not hard. You just have some people that just don't want to give up eating pork. You have some people that just don't want to give up sleeping with. You have some men that don't want to give up sleeping with another man, woman. You have some women that don't want to give up sleeping with that married man. You have some people that don't want to give up smoking weed. You have people that they have been sinning for so long, they don't want to give it up. They refuse to give it up. They might say to themselves, well, I just won't do it as much as I've been doing. I'm going to cut back. God knows my heart. God know how I am. You're right. He do. He do. But these are the things that will keep you in a slave state of being. It will keep you doing what you do. Because when you haven't been taught the things that is of the Most High, if nobody never told you in Christianity that you can't do this, you can't do that, they don't tell you that. They tell you that Christ died for your sins. So by you hearing something like that, you'll think that it's all right to go out here and do this and do that. And it's not. But I'm gonna jump into some little more. And I'm gonna go to Matthew chapter 15. Matthew chapter 15 and verse 18. I'm gonna start out with verse 18. They say, but those things which proceed out of the mouth come forth from the heart, and they defile the man. You know, things that come from out your mouth, like like I'm going to this Christmas party. Man, what I'm gonna do for this Christmas? Yeah, New Year's. What I'm gonna get her for Valentine's Day? You know, these things right here keep you at a slave way of being. Yeah, what's up?
So, Matthew what?
Matthew chapter 15 and start at verse 18. If you want me to read it over, I'll read it over. You need me to read it over? You got it? All right, Matthew chapter 15 and verse 18. It say, but those things which proceed out of the mouth come forth from the heart, and they defile the man. So the things that will defile you will be like, man, I ain't gonna eat no much. I'm not gonna eat as much pork as I ate last year. Man, I gotta cut back on sleeping with all these women, man. Last year I slept with about 10. This year I might do about 3 or 4. Like stuff like that, that defiles you. It defiles you. You know, a lot of people feel like a lot of people feel like, you know, they could say this and they could say that. But the things that comes from out your mouth, it comes from your heart. It comes from your heart. And it defiles you. It defiles you. Because if you have not been taught how to even think right, then you're not going to speak right. If you haven't been taught the ways that is of a man, if you haven't been taught the ways that is of a woman, then you just, you know, you're just going to do what you want to do. You're just going to say what you want to say. But it has to, you know, it's levels. It's levels of respect, ways of talking, it's ways of communicating to keep you from defiling yourself, to keep you from saying things. So I'm going to go to verse 19. It say, verse 19, Matthew chapter 15 and verse 19. It say, for out of the heart proceed evil thoughts. See that right there? For out of the heart, from out of the heart proceed evil thoughts. So this lets you know that your mind is the heart. This lets you know that the mind is the heart. Because a lot of people have evil thoughts, especially if you're a worldly person. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're a worldly person. Because, like, take New Year's, for instance. So-called New Year's. You have people, when I say evil thoughts, they like this right here, okay, 12 o'clock, a lot of guns gonna be going off, man. Look, them niggas over there, we gonna get at them niggas. Soon as them guns start going off, we gonna start shooting at them niggas. They ain't gonna know where it's coming from. They ain't gonna know who did it. Evil thoughts. Yeah, all right. I see this girl right there. Yeah, I'm gonna get at her. Yeah, I'm gonna holler at her, see what she about. Evil thoughts. Yeah, this nigga look at me, man, I'm gonna get at this nigga. Evil thoughts. If she say another word to me, evil thoughts. You know what I'm saying? And the list goes on and on. But out of the mouth, slap. Out of the heart proceed evil thoughts, murders, adulteries, fornication, theft, false witness, blasphemies. And all of this comes from out of the heart. The heart is the mind. The heart is the mind. And, with that being said, that kind of like goes hand in hand because even if you don't know how to tame your tongue, and it's like a snake, you know what I'm saying? Like if you giving off evil thoughts, especially if you're a person that got wordplay, and listen, you would do damage to a person that don't know how to handle you if you coming out your mouth reckless, saying things, tearing a person down, you saying this, you saying that. Just as well as you could build a person up, you could tear them down too. You could tear them down to nothing. A lot of people don't realize that it's all different forms of abuse, and one of them is verbal. One of them is verbal. Just as well as you can commend somebody, you can tear them down in a matter of seconds. You can tear them down in a matter of seconds. So now I'm going to go to Proverbs. Let's see. So the Proverbs chapter 4. Proverbs chapter 4 and verse 23. Proverbs chapter 4 and verse 23. All right. They say, keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. So, you have to keep your heart in the right mind. You have to keep. So I didn't mean to say it like that. You have to keep your heart on the right track. You have to keep your heart on the right track, meaning that you have to keep your mind on positive things. When you're young, you should know, as a young person, you should know how to entertain yourself. It should never be a time where you could say, I'm bored. I don't know what to do. I don't have nothing to do. You can always get a book. You can always buy books with puzzles, crossword puzzles. You should always, train your mind. You should train your mind to the point that, when it comes our time to it, and you cross that path to where you had to train your mind, you know what to do. It's like second nature. It's like you fixing you a cup of juice. You fix you a cup of juice, you're not gonna make no mess. You're not gonna open the refrigerator and not close it back. You're not going to take the lid off the juice and not put it back. You know, when it comes down to your mind, you have to really build it. You have to, you got to do things that strengthen your mind. Let me say it like that. You have to do things that strengthen your mind. And what I mean by strengthen it, like sit down and read some things, challenge yourself. So now you build it. Now you just never third. My father, I give my father props for this. When I was coming up, I think I was like about, he started me, I think about like 8 or 9. I used to have to put together model cars. And I I never really questioned my father. You know what I'm saying? I just looked at him like, all right. But where I am today and how I am, I'm nice with my hands, like working, putting stuff together, this and that and the third. And I thank him for that because not only did he taught me my right hand from my left hand by putting the model cars together, it was like a time limit too, because it got to the point that whereas I went from doing it in 3 days to one day. So not only doing it in one day, I went from doing it in one day to like doing it in some hours. So plus that was a mental like stimulation. Like it taught me good hand and eye coordination. It taught me how to look at this and look at that. Okay, this go with this. Yeah, it was. That's why I say, you know, this Proverb 4:23. It says, "Keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life." So by you keeping your mind on the right path, it'll benefit because as you go further and further in life, you'll be able to you'll be able to adapt to certain changes and rise above it. You won't be stuck in like, I can't do this. It, nah. You'll sit back, calm yourself down, take on that task, do what it is you got to do, and let that be. Let that be. That's why you have to sit back and really, you have to go on and educate yourself. Because set aside from being in school, and I'm not saying that you can't get nothing from school because you can. It might be something that you could get. Boom. Okay. Let me put it in the bag. I got it. But say when you're not in school, that's when the time that you pick certain things up. I'm gonna do this. I'm out for the summer. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. You still growing. You still allowing yourself to grow. Mm. Salaki.
Good. And this is. Okay.
Like Israel. I'm back. Let me go to I'm gonna go to Proverbs chapter 13 and 3. Proverbs chapter 13 and 3. It said, he that keepeth his mouth keepeth his life. So, being that like I was saying earlier about being a slave, you know, as you being a slave, you gotta learn how to choose your words wisely, you know, because sometimes in the midst of acting out and especially during holidays, these holidays is not even our holidays. So during the holidays, we want to sit and we want to say this. We want to bring up old stuff that done happened 10 years ago, stuff that you didn't deal with then, but you're holding a grudge. So now by you being in this type of spirit for this type of holiday, now you want to sit back, get your little drink on. So now you want to go and talk about the things that you didn't square away when you had the chance to. So now guess what happened? Now you're in a brawl. Now you fighting, carrying on, doing the most, doing the most. And the beginning of this proverb, it says that he that keepeth his mouth, keepeth his life. But he that openeth wide his lips to have destruction. And that's where the destruction come in. Because now you're talking about things that you shouldn't have even talked about. First of all, you shouldn't even be celebrating these man-made holidays, especially you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American man and woman. So now your heart ain't in the right place, meaning that your mind. So now, guess what? Evil thoughts come from out of your mind. Not only that, you're saying crazy stuff. And you think that you're doing something. But the most I hate these feast days. That's why things go the way they go. Because you want to hold on to the things that is of a slave and celebrate things that is not of the Most High. That is not of the Most High. That is not of the Most High. But, and this goes on every year. This has been going on every year. And God's chosen people, for the ones that are not in the ISUPK and the Community of Hana, they don't realize. They do not realize. They do not. So I'm gonna go to Matthew chapter 12. Matthew chapter 12, and I'm gonna start at verse 36. But I say unto you that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. So all them evil thoughts, all those idle words, all the words that you have been spoke, how you was talking crazy, how you being very disrespectful. You're going to give account of that. You're going to give account of that. Instead of you saying, this is not right. This is, we can't do that. Man, we have been hurt, especially now and this day and time, we haven't heard what them brothers of the ISUPK saying. We haven't seen what's going on in the ISUPK. Yeah, we're not physically in there, but we haven't seen the teachings. We haven't seen these brothers come and talk from the Bible. We haven't seen these brothers tell us the words of the Most High God. We haven't heard that these men have been said for us to stop acting like slaves, for us to stop acting out, for us to be about brotherhood, to be about sisterhood, to come back and keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. We want to go in separate ways. We want to just do the things that it's not of the Most High. Verse 37, it says, "For by thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned." You shall be condemned. For the things that you will say that is not of the Most High. Things that you are going to do that is not of the Most High. That is not of the Most High. But you have been doing it so long till you think that it is. You have been saying the things that you have been saying, and you think that, you know. But I'm going to say this here. For God's chosen people that are not in the ISUPK and the Commanding Junior Honor, they look at us like we are crazy when we say that the white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. It's like we haven't said the ultimate. It's like they like this right here. Man, y'all shouldn't be talking about them people like that, man. You should. But it's crazy. Yeah.
Is there like two different bodies, like one that speaks about there, or lightning, and the other one that speaks to like, the well-being?
No. That Bible that you got, it talks about the so-called white man. It talks about him. Not only do it talks about him, it talks about his wife, and it talks about his kids. It talks about their destruction. It talks about how they are going into slavery. But the real Bible, the original, is the 1611 King James Version. And that includes the Apocrypha. And the word Apocrypha means hidden books, because these books was taken out of the Bible. So there is, I don't want you to be confused when I say this. I know what you're trying to ask me. It's not a Bible that talks about white people, and then it's a Bible that talks about black people. It's not like that. It's not like that. But the 1611 King James Bible, that Bible is for so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. That Bible was written by us. It was written to us, for us. So don't never let nobody tell you that the so-called white man wrote that Bible. Because there's no way that he gonna talk about his destruction. There's no way that he gonna put his destruction in a book. When he said that black people, if you want to hide knowledge, put it in a book. That's what the white man said. He said, if you want to keep knowledge away from black people, he said, put it in a book. He said, because they don't read. But guess what? Not only do we read our book, the Bible, we breaks it down. So don't never let nobody trick you. Don't never let nobody tell you. If they tell you that, tell them to prove it. Tell them to show you But here in the ISUPK, we answer all questions. But I can show you, but just for time's sake, I can show you. But listen, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you something about the white man. I'm gonna show you something about it. When you look at you got to go to Revelations chapter 13. Revelation chapter 13, and you look at verse 10. I'm gonna read you two things that's talking about the white man and talks about even down to his kids. And you look at Revelation chapter 13 and verse 10, it said, "He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity." So if you know anything about history, you know that the white man stole a whole nation of black people. He stole a whole nation of black people. So when you look at Revelation chapter 13 and verse 10, it says, he that leadeth into captivity, so-called white man led black people into captivity. Say shall go into captivity. That word shall means future prophecy, that this is going to happen. It is going to happen. Not that it might, but it's going to happen. Say shall go into captivity. It say he that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. And the modern day sword is like guns. But back then, back during the time that they had us in captivity, which they still do have us in captivity. They was hanging us, burning us, putting tar and feather, like tar is a hot liquid, black, like instantly killing us and throwing feathers on us. Like they was taking babies, alligator bait, putting babies on big hooks, throwing them in rivers, catching alligators. Like you have to do the history. Like you have to do the history. The things that they have done to us, it's like it's unspeakable. But that's one. He that leadeth into captivity must go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. So the saints in the Bible are Israelites. So I'm gonna show you another one where it talks about his destruction. When you go to Isaiah chapter 14, Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 21. It says, "For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob." Jacob is the father of, had 12 sons, which makes up the nation of Israel. "And will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land, and the strangers." So now the strangers are these other nations. That what's up.
He said, yeah, what?
Isaiah chapter 14, and you're gonna start at verse 1. Okay, I'm gonna start over. "For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob." Cleave means they're gonna hold on to us. This is slavery. This is slavery for them now. "And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids." Handmaids mean slave. "And they shall take them captives, who captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors." So this is slavery. This is slavery for the so-called white man in these other nations. And it's So I'm gonna show you where it talks about for their kids. When you look at Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 21, they say, prepare slaughter for the children. Salaki, let me start that over. Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 21, they say, prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity, meaning for the sins. Iniquity means sins. So this is what God say do for these white kids. Prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers. So we are going to prepare slaughter for the sins of what their forefathers have done, for what their forefathers have done to our people, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Because they did unalive us. They did the most to us. So the Most High say prepare slaughter for their children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. So the Most High say doing away with them. The Most High says do away with these people. So that is the answer to your question. That's the answer to your question. And you heard it straight out the Bible. Same Bible that you have in your hand right there. That's it. So you remember the 1611 King James Version. That's our history book. That's our Constitution. So I'm gonna and that's one of the things that you should never, being in that slave mentality, celebrate these man-made holidays, doing this, doing that, make you a slave. But this is one of the things that you should never do as being a slave. In the Apocrypha. Y'all don't have Apocrypha, but I'm gonna get you one. I'm gonna read it to you. When you look at Ecclesiasticus chapter 40 and verse 28, and this is what the Most High said. He said, my son, lead not a beggar's life, for better it is to die than to beg. For better it is to die than to beg. The Most High don't want us to beg. So guess what? When you be seeing, especially not to your enemies, you don't never have to beg. You don't, listen. If you're doing what the Most High say do, the Most High will provide for you. If you keeping his law, statutes, and commandments, the Most High will listen, he'll show you things that you ain't never seen. Don't never go to them and beg them. Don't never put yourself in that predicament. You stand up and be a man. In the ISUPK and the Community Junior Honor, we don't go to them white people for nothing. For nothing. You read what I just said, what God said. Do not live a beggar's life. The Most High said it is better to die than to beg. I'm gonna tell you who did a lot of begging. Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King was begging them white people to accept us. He was begging that we be equal to these people when God put us above these people. We are better than the so-called white man. We're better than any nation that is on the face of this earth. That's why you should never put yourself in a predicament to beg these people. You're better than them. They are beneath you. They are beneath you. But I'm going to read something that you should be doing. Like, if you're going to be a slave for the Most High. Be a slave to his words. do his commandments, keep his high holy days. Keep his high holy days. We'll go to Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13. Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 13. It say, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. The whole duty of man, which will hand down to the woman too. Fear God and keep his commandments. You know, we want to be, especially when you're not in this truth, you will be a slave to a man that does not have no mercy, does not care for you, does not do nothing for you. Like you dealing with your oppressor, and when I say the oppressor, I mean the so-called white man who is your enemy. When you dealing with him, he got his hand out. The only thing he want for you is your money. He wants your money. If he can unalive you, he will. But as far as you thinking that you trying to be on his level, trying to come up to his status, this and that and the third, at the end of the day, he gonna let you know that you a nigga. He gonna let you know that he has power over you still. But if you hold on to the law, statutes, and commandments of this Bible, of this book, you would know that he is beneath you, that he is nothing. He is nothing. I'm gonna read y'all something what God said about the so-called white man. That God said that he'd be like spittle unto him. And I'm gonna close out with this. I'm gonna show you what God says about the so-called white man and these other nations. When you look at 2nd Ezra, chapter 6, and verse 54, I'm gonna start up there. It reads, and after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, meaning that we all come from Adam. Like that's a whole breakdown. That's a whole breakdown. They say, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. So who the Most High has chosen? God has chosen the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American, man, woman, and child, which makes up the 12 tribes of Israel, which makes up one nation. Verse 55, all this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes. Verse 56, and as for the other people, because I just read that God has a chosen people. So now as for the other people, which also come of Adam. So now this would, meaning that come of Adam, you got to think about the flood. So only Noah and his 3 sons and their wives, which went on, Noah's 3 sons went on to populate the earth after the flood. So this is what this is referring to. All right. Okay, verse 55. All this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou hast made it the world for our sake. Verse 56. As for the other people which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing. Thou hast said that they are nothing. Thou hast said that they are nothing. Y'all heard of Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. I'm gonna get that for you real quick because I want you to get a visual of what I'm saying. Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. It says, "For thou art a holy people," and the word holy means separate. So when the Most High made us holy, He made us separate. He made us not to even deal with these people, have nothing to do with these people. He said, "For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto Himself above all people." He has made us to be a special people above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So now you got to say to yourself, man, who are these people that the Most High is talking about? All right. So when you look at Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 15, it said, "Only the Lord had a delight in thy fathers to love them and choose their seed after them, even you above all people that are upon the face of the earth." Okay. I'm going to bring it all the way home. Bring it all the way home. All right. To the First Samuel. '12 and 25. Uh-oh. No, let me go to First Chronicle. All right. When you look at First Chronicles chapter 16 and verse 13, it says, "O ye seed of Israel, his servant, ye children of Jacob, his chosen one." So this talking about the 12 tribes. So now you know that Israelites are his chosen people. He has chosen them to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So God has chosen the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American man, woman, and child to be a special people above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Y'all got that. Don't let nobody tell you nothing different. You are special from your hair to the bottom of your feet. You got woolly hair like Christ. Melanated people, brown skin, you good. Can't nobody touch us. So now, let me read this again. I'm back in the Apocrypha, 2nd Ezra, chapter 6 and verse 56. It says, "As for the other people which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing." This is what God said about these other people. This is what God has said about the so-called white man and his whole lineage. Africans too. All these other 17 nations, God said they are nothing, but be like unto spittle. You know that little white stuff that be coming out your mouth when you take a spit? God said that these people are nothing. They be like spittle. Be like spittle unto him. Be like spit unto him. And has likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. So listen, man, you God's chosen people. I just showed you something. Let's give you that's a little bit of milk. It's a little bit of milk for you. You know that you're a special people, all right? Don't let nobody tell you nothing different. God said that we are separate. You do not follow behind these so-called white people. You don't have to deal with them in no shape, form, or fashion. They are nothing to the Most High God. God said they be like spit. And if you want to know why he made them, the Most High said that he made the wicked for the day of evil. Because these are a wicked people. So everything was created with a purpose. Everything was created with a purpose. So, any questions? You say why they made churches? Yeah, why did they make churches?
Trap house, they want to people to go into the church.
Why? Why they want them to go into the trap house?
Because the church is something you're not supposed to.
You say they what?
Teachers, it's not the truth.
All right. So let me help you out. What is a trap house? Yeah. Remember, a trap house is a place where money comes in the trap house. All the money that comes in the trap house is gonna come out the trap house. All right. That's why they call it a trap house. Like it's a place where it's a place. Well, it's yeah, it's yeah, money laundering. Yeah, you could attach that to that, but you got to look at who you're dealing with. This is the so-called white man, so he is not going to be held accountable for money laundering because the reason he's not going to be held for money laundering because he is ruling the earth. So now, when you look at Job 9, chapter 9, verse 24, say the earth is given to the hands of the wicked. He's not going. He's not going to hold himself accountable for that. But now, say if I was sending money back and forth to New York, I'm sending money to Cali, this and that, and the third, this and that, third. I might get hit up with a RICO case. I ain't got no job, but I'm sending a crazy amount of money, this and that, and the third. But he is not going to get caught up with that because you got to look at who is running the earth. But that's just how it goes when you're dealing with this devil. Man. So now you know what a trap house is. What is it? Yeah, it's a hustle, man. The church ain't nothing but a hustle. All right? Church is just all you gotta do. I say trap houses because you got more than one. You got more than one church. If y'all call yourself serving God, then why are there like about 20 churches in certain neighborhoods that you say you serving God? But a trap house ain't nothing but a place where money coming in and going out. Money coming in and going out. Money coming in and going out. Church ain't nothing but $1 billion hustle. That's all. That ain't hard to remember. All right? That ain't hard to remember. Y'all got any more questions? All right. So I'm in this class. Want to give a shout out to the y'all that tuned in. The water for tuning in. Hey, we got a powerful class coming in tomorrow. Scripture breakdown. Y'all tune in and we're gonna be in here again next week. With that, I want to give a courtesy salute to the brothers, Yahweh Shemi Hashabarakatham, to the sisters, Yahweh Shemar Alatham, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shah, class dismissed.